And in those little groups, it is like a community. So there's like it's the 80-20 rule, right? Like there's 20% of the people who are really participating, and you got people who pop in, and we've had people who have exchanged deals together. They've established, partnerships, or they've worked on deals and closings together. And so that's one of the cool parts about community, is that you can find others that are going through the same challenges that you are, and you can find like-minded people who can, keep you motivated. And it's a great thing. And we're still growing that. And we have some plans down the road to even build that community larger and make it more of a concerted effort. But it kind of just happened organically.
Welcome back to the Pete Podcast, where we discuss the latest in REI tech, trends, and inspiration. Welcome. My name's MJ. I'm going to be your host as usual, and I'm very excited to welcome a super special guest to the show today. So for those of you who are in the REI space, through whatever angle, through whatever, your journey has been, but you're in the REI industry looking to collaborate with others in the industry and get more closings, you need to pay attention and tune in right now, because I'm bringing to the show today Mr. Benson Juarez, founder of Privy, and so excited to hear more about Agent Match. He's an investor and entrepreneur in the tech space as well, and we're really pumped to have him. So please tune in if you're looking to collaborate, get more of those closings in your portfolio. Thanks for being here, Benson. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I do want to say one thing, though.
Of course.
Some people use the words like, what's your title, right? And some people call me founder. I would say I'm a co-owner. I really give the credit to my business partner, Scott, as the brainchild of the company and moving it forward. And I'm just happy to be part of it. It's been an amazing ride. And he's really the power behind the business.
I love that. Well, thank you, Scott. I wish, you'll have to pass on the gratitude to him. And I appreciate the clarification right up at the top. It's exciting to hear what you guys have been up to. So tell us a little bit for our, audience members who aren't as familiar with Privy. Maybe let's start there and just start with how did that come about? What does Privy do? And how did that, kind of open this space or need that you felt to create this larger ecosystem where people could get together in something like Agent Match?
Yeah, it starts back with my partner, Scott. We were both real estate agents in the same office back over 10 years ago now, when we were investor-focused real estate agents. And we were looking for a way of automating all the tedious tasks that you have to do every day to find and analyze deals. And
100%.
Even having the experience and having access to the MLS, it wasn't enough. We were still doing everything manually. And so you can really get in the weeds, and there's a limit to how much you can scale and how effective and efficient you can be by doing things manually, even with a data platform like the MLS. So Scott every day used to run this hot sheet where he'd go into every new listing every day and would pick out the best properties. So he was analyzing a lot of property to find the best ones, and he'd send out the hot sheet to the investors. And the investors would be like, yeah, I like this one. Let's set up a showing. And that's when we started discussing, like, God, you're sucking so much time doing this. Maybe there's a way of automating it. And that was really
he was manually creating each of those hot sheets. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was
and it's a ton of value, but it's a time drain for sure, and it's limited on how much he can do.
100%. Yeah, and you're limited to the number of people you can help effectively before you start dropping calls, right? And that's really what the thing was. Is like, okay, there's all these people that wanted to opt in, and you're like, yeah, I can help everybody, but then they get an experience that isn't optimal. And then that's when you hit that breaking point, right? Where you have, limiting returns. What's the diminishing returns, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that was really the beginning of it. And we developed a product. We were the first company in the US that had what's called a RETS feed. And it's a data feed that comes directly from the MLS. And to this day, we're still the only platform out there that has direct to MLS data on scale.
Yeah.
So we're now nationwide with multiple sources of data, including over 120 direct to MLS data feeds, county records, public records, rental data, and others. And we filed for a patent about 5 years ago, and we got a patent just a few months ago for what's called our comparative search, which essentially is an algorithm that uses investor activity to find the hottest areas and to look for deals based off of what other investors are already having success with.
Oh, that's great. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
That's really exciting. And would you say, Benson, that Privy is best suited for investors? Is it also used by realtors or agents, or like who's the ideal avatar, I guess, for getting this kind of data or needing that data?
Well, it began for just us as agents, right? So the product was never intended to be sold. It was just a tool that we built for ourselves internally so that we could automate those tedious tasks.
Yeah.
Then it started to catch on. Other agents in the office wanted it. Our clients wanted to use it. And they were like, light bulb, okay, we've got another opportunity here to turn this into a product. And so now it's a platform where agents, investors, hard money lenders can collaborate and work together toward a common goal. And that is the next phase of our company. Is that for a long time, we were just selling software subscriptions. Then once we realized that we could use the data to bring people together, because a lot of people in the audience probably have understood for years that there's this weird tension between agents and investors. Investors are like, I don't like working with agents. And agents are like, oh, investors, they're draining my time and my resources, and, I get ghosted, and it's just not a good use of my time. So, a lot of agents don't work with investors. And so there's like this weird tension between them. But with the platform, what we've been able to do is create an environment where we can take some of the onus off the agent, get the investor more involved in the process, the ones that want to be, right? There are some investors that they're like doctors and lawyers and professionals.
They fly still.
They're just looking for some place to put money. Then there's a whole other group of investors that are more entrepreneurial. They want to get their hands dirty. They want to comp out their own properties. They want to do the market research.
Sort through the numbers,
really get in there and understand what's happening. So when a property opportunity presents itself, they're not relying on the agent 100% to give them advice to take action. And that was part of the problem for a long time, is that the agent was responsible for everything, every little bit of it. And they would just send properties to the clients, and the clients didn't really understand, is this a deal? Is this not a deal?
It feels like that, what the interaction you just described, or that relationship, felt more transactional, right? Versus a real relationship kind of built on some trust, some rapport, mutual respect for what the other, and more of like a team, working together in this collaborative or team spirit. I think that's huge. And you're Denver based, right? You're Colorado.
Yeah.
So that age old tension between, that you described between agents and investors, it reminds me of growing up when I would go snowboarding, the tension between skiers and snowboarders. I don't know if that's still the case. I haven't been on the slopes in a minute, but listen, it'll always be the case. Landlords and tenants, right? Like there's always going to be this dichotomy, but I love that what you guys are doing is addressing that as almost as this like pain point that doesn't need to be so tense or so sharp. It can be softened. So
yeah, it's been a great experience too, because I see both sides. Like you said, I'm an agent. I've been an agent for over 20 years. I've been investing for over 20 years. So I got a unique perspective to see both sides, and I can understand the arguments on both sides as well. And that's part of how we developed this new program called Agent Match, where we're matching investor savvy agents who we know have done deals, right? And that's one of the things that investors didn't like about working with agents, is they would get caught up in a relationship, and maybe the agent says, okay, here's an exclusive agency agreement. You have to work with me and only me. And I'm the only one paid. And they'd be like, well, yeah, I met this agent at the local RIA. They seem like they got their stuff together. Let's do it. And then they're trapped in this relationship they can't get out of contractually. They find out this agent hasn't done any deals. And so the way that we find agents is because we know all the transactions. We track investment activity nationwide. So we know every fix and flip that's done. We know every buy and hold that's done. We know who the investors are. We know who the agents are, and we track it all. So we were able to create our hot list of our own.
Okay.
All the agents that were actually doing.
I was just going to say, yeah. And are there any minimum requirements, Benson, that, like an agent, to join Agent Match or to be part of that ecosystem? For example, you have to have done,
and they've done transactions recently. Within the last year.
Okay.
But we also require a certification. So I built a course to teach agents how to be investor savvy, but backed by data. So not just an agent who does deals through the MLS and still doing things
Mm-hmm.
manually, we built a whole new process so they can leverage the Privy platform and our deal finding algorithms
Mm-hmm.
and data tracking of investment activity to
I
power
love
the agent
this.
with all this
Mm-hmm.
information so they can become more effective as an investor savvy agent and now elevate themselves
That's
above
great.
even some of the best agents
Yeah,
out there that
their
aren't
peers.
leveraging automation and data and
Mm-hmm.
technology. So we're creating like these
Mm-hmm.
superhero agents who are
Yeah.
powered by data and automation to really provide the maximum amount of value to their investor clients.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. I'm so excited. Has Agent Match launched
We
already
just launched it
or?
recently, a couple months ago. It
Okay.
started out as a pilot program,
Wow.
but we
Hmm.
partnered up with one of the largest brokerages in the nation, and we're now creating more
Okay.
partnerships and other enterprise partnerships with lenders,
Hmm.
other software providers who have large pools of investors and agents, and we're bringing all these people together and showing
Yeah.
them the power of this program where you can put two people together and create a synergistic relationship. It's not one
Yeah.
plus one equals two; it's one plus one equals 1,000. And now they
It's
can
huge.
scale up and they can optimize and they can do all these great things by working together. And it's
Yeah.
things are way better when you're working with others too, because
Hmm.
investors
Sure.
oftentimes are solopreneurs. So they're
Hmm.
operating by themselves.
They're wearing so many hats.
So
They
many
forget they
hats.
can't even take certain hats off while they have to put other ones on. It's a lot. It's burdensome, right? And it's at, for the most part, it's inefficient, even if it's necessary for a little while. So getting to that point where either they're expanding their teams, or like you mentioned, they're relying on technology as a part of your ecosystem as well and your team. So they're starting to rely more on automations or the ability to delegate, right? Rinse, repeat. Uh, you're trying to get them to that point, so that they can scale and optimize, right? And
Yeah.
become more efficient.
But also
So,
have somebody there to bounce ideas off of. You got
mhm,
a support
mhm.
network there when the days
Yeah,
when you don't want to do the things, but there's somebody there who's like, yeah,
you
let's
have to.
go. Like I found this really good
Hmm.
property. Let's go look at it. Let's go look at it. It looks like a great opportunity. And
Yeah.
they can be like, yeah, let's go. Let's do this. Right. And there's a lot of reasons when you are a solopreneur and a lot of, I guess, reasons you can come up with to just not do the
Hmm.
things. But when you're part of
Yep.
a group,
Yep.
everyone's moving together, it's a lot harder to
Yeah.
not do those things.
I love that. Well, so listening to you talk, it makes me feel like community is a huge part of your internal value system. It seems like it's kind of a guiding North Star. Does that seem accurate? It's
Oh
a
yeah,
good read on you?
become that.
Yeah. Yeah.
When we
And
first
I'm wondering, mhm, go ahead.
sorry, I'll
Yeah.
elaborate on that because we do weekly trainings that
Hmm.
I lead, and so I do one that's for investors only. I do another one that's
Okay.
for agents only, because those conversations are different, right?
Yeah.
They're
They have
facing different
different angles.
challenges,
Hmm.
and so we decided to break those out. A few years back, I would put them all together,
Okay.
and then the conversation would get dominated by one side or the other, and we just
Sure.
felt like these people need to be separated sometimes,
Separated. Yeah.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And so
They deserve their own spaces as well. Yeah.
yeah,
For the different intentionality. Hmm.
so the training's different, the
Yeah.
conversations are different, and in those little groups, it is like a community. So there's like it's the 80-20 rule, right? Like there's 20% of the people who are really participating, and you got people who pop in. And we've
Hmm.
had people who have exchanged deals together. They've established, partnerships, or they've worked on deals and closings together. And so that's one of the cool
Hmm.
parts about community is that you can find others that are going through the same challenges that you are, and you can find
Yeah.
like-minded people who can, keep you motivated. And it's a great thing, and we're still growing that, and we have some plans
Hmm.
down the road to even build that community larger and make it more of a concerted effort, but it kind of just
Yeah.
happened organically.
I love that. And this is a theme that has come up with others that we've spoken to on our podcast. I always say success shared is much more satisfying than success in a silo, right? Because you actually have others around you to celebrate with. And conversely, challenges faced are easier faced when you have others to help hold that space, hold that lesson learned, or whatever the challenge or hardship might have been. Um, so, when I think about like what you're building here, yeah, has community been a part of your life, from before real estate? I guess, because, what kind of inspired you to want to bring people together,
I think it has been. I've always played a lot of sports, and sports is like a
Mhm.
great way to build a community. And,
Yep.
like there's always challenges in sports of overcoming adversity and loss and
Hmm.
how to win gracefully and, how to
Yep.
build friendships. So sports has always been part of my life.
Yeah.
And I've joined different groups over the years. Some like, I don't want to call them self-help, but like personal growth communities I've
Hmm.
joined. I've done mentorships with at-risk youth for many
Hmm.
years. I'm not currently doing it, but I have before. Colorado Youth at Risk was one I was part of for 8 years. And so we would
Okay.
help at-risk children. And it was a group effort. So all these kids would join the program at the same time. And then there'd be a group of
Hmm.
mentors that joined it and we'd go through it together.
Yeah.
And so
Yep.
you would,
That's great.
establish new friendships, and then the kids would talk with other kids that they would never talk with at school because they're all in their
Hmm.
little cliques.
And then eyes are opened and,
So
horizons are, grown.
you'd have like the band geeks hanging out with the jocks, hanging out with the
Yep.
theater people, and they
Love
join the
that.
program because there's some challenges in their lives, right? Because they
Mhm.
felt like it's 100% voluntary, so they felt like it's
Yeah.
something they needed to change, and then they join this program, and there's people from all walks of life doing things
Hmm.
together. It's amazing.
I think that's lovely. It's you're taking me back at when I was in, I want to say when maybe I was in high school, so decades ago. I started as volunteering, and then I would work summer jobs as a camp counselor with at-risk youth at a local elementary school that was nearby, and we were just trying to keep kids off the streets. To be honest,
Yeah.
it didn't have to be the most educational things we were doing. That did often happen, but uh, to be able to connect youth and to see these kind of synergies and these sparks or relationships happening that maybe otherwise wouldn't have, just because people are intentionally putting themselves into a space to be together, right, and to go through those 3 hours after school together.
Right.
There's a lot of magic that happens there,
Yeah.
and that's neat. That's really neat to hear, kind of where some of those roots started for you, because it sounds like there's a common DNA in what you guys are doing with Agent Match, and even utilizing Privy and tech. So I kind of want to pivot, and in the time that we have left, I want to ask you about where did your love for tech come from? Because tech is kind of the foundation, using your words, right,
Mhm.
for these other things you guys are building, and we love that because as you know, at Pete, we're data nerds, so we're all about people being able to utilize data and KPIs and their metrics in a way that is, straightforward, simple, innovative, but really harness the power of data to run your business efficiently, right? Whether it's with automations, optimizing with workflows, things of that nature. So we always, we lean heavy on systems and say, hey, your systems should support you. You should not be managing or feeling like you need to support your system,
Right.
right? Which is often what we hear from entrepreneurs, especially investors. So where did it start for you with tech? Was it from that pain point of when Scott was manually making those hot sheets, and you guys were like, we got to automate this, man.
Yeah.
Like, we need a robot to be doing
It's
this.
before that. So I went
Or
to
Mhm.
Colorado State University, and
Okay.
I originally wanted to be an engineer. But I
Okay. What
realized I
kind of
didn't
engineer?
have the head for it. I didn't do well in statistics and some of these classes that were more, I don't know what you call it, more science based.
Sure. Okay.
And so
Yeah.
I got pulled into some of the courses with coding and
Hmm.
system design. And so I eventually got my degree in computer information systems, which
Okay.
is a really cool degree because it's a degree that sits in between hardcore computer science and business. And so those
It's very
characteristics
versatile.
will have a hard time understanding each other. So like
Mhm.
when a business person goes into a coder's room and they say, okay, here's what we want to build. And they're like, we don't get it. In between that is system
Yep.
design in the computer science or computer information system degree where they know both worlds. So I knew coding, but I took all the marketing classes and
Hmm.
I took finance and I took
Hmm.
management and all the stuff that helps make a business run. And so that's my core, is both sides of the fence. And so it's been, I don't know, like a serendipity moment when that
Yeah.
happened. I'm like, yeah, I understand both worlds. I'm perfect for this. I was built
Yeah.
for it.
And you're bridging both worlds. You're speaking the common language.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been
I
great for
think
me
that's
to
wonderful.
train as well, right? Because I'm a whiz with the software. I use it in my own business to find
Mm-hmm.
deals and analyze deals. And then I can train our users how to use it and giving them
Yeah.
a perspective of like, here's the real world use cases of how to use it. Because I know what they're trying to solve for. And it isn't
I
just
think that's
somebody
great.
saying, okay, click this button, move this thing here.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. What do you want to accomplish? Let me show you
Mm-hmm.
how to use the data and the technology to accomplish that.
Yeah, because we can get that done. And here is the roadmap.
Yeah.
Here's the way in which to go about it. Yeah, I think in this day and age, and our listeners know this, if you are not setting yourself up with the right tech, the right systems, the right processes, and it's different for everyone because everyone's business goals are slightly different, right? And nuanced to what their needs are. Then you're missing out, right? And so whether it's via automations, you know, access to data, accurate data, powerful data, so that you can make more informed decisions as you run your business, as you try to go out and get those deals, close those deals. You really want to be thinking about these elements, right? Of your business. So, I think we'll close out with this. I want to ask you, in a relatively succinctly, what's one limiting belief you've had, Benson, that you would really advise, like your present day self would tell past Benson to be like, let that go so that you can, make moves faster. Hit us with one of those.
Yeah, I think I've been fortunate to be able to operate and work with a lot of very successful people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always had this kind of thing, people call it imposter syndrome, where like you just don't feel like you belong. And I think that's a great thing to motivate you, but sometimes people let them it gets them pulling them back as well. There's a tension there. And if you don't feel imposter syndrome, it means you're not trying hard enough. Like you're not putting yourself in the right room. So if you don't
Like
have
that.
a little bit of that in the back of your mind telling you that like this person is better than you, then you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. So it's a good thing. It's be motivating and always push yourself. If you get to a point where you don't have that, that means that you're not putting yourself out there. You're not stretching the limits. You're not creating those big, hairy goals, right? Because
you're not growing.
staying comfortable.
You're not growing.
And you're being safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I love that. I think growth mindset is really important. Has been big. It's going to continue to be a big trend, especially in the REI business entrepreneur field, right? Moving forward, especially with the advent of AI. So we're really excited over here at Pete to see all the things you guys are up to. And just want to thank you again for your time today. It's so nice to connect. And again, to our viewers out there, if you are looking to tap into a really dynamic ecosystem where it's not just you, but it's you surrounded by other investors, entrepreneurs, agents, lenders, so much more. Benson's your guy. You gotta reach out. You gotta talk to him. All the info will be, in our captions here. And stay tuned for another exciting episode coming up. But thank you, Benson. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, MJ. Really appreciate it.
Likewise. Take care, man.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.